Republican women. There was a piece at Salon by Armanda Marco. She starts out, are Republican women ever going to get fed up? Shit, no. No, they do. They're going to do exactly what they're fucking told to do. Either by their husband or their religious leader or those little private conversations they have with God. Those are special. Armanda writes, it's a question that keeps cropping up after every incident of Republican political leaders minimizing, denying, or excusing sexual harassment and sexual abuse. Are Republican women ever going to get fed up? So far, the answer is no. Of course not. Republican women did not turn on Trump after a tape was released featuring him bragging about sexual assault. They didn't turn on the party when it backed Roy Moore in the U.S. Senate, the guy who just desperately wanted to have sex in the back seat with girls young enough to be his daughter or his granddaughter. Now the question's being raised again in light of these allegations against this piece of shit, Brett Kavanaugh. Anyway, Armanda goes on, after Thursday's hearing, when it became clear that Kavanaugh's principal accuser, Dr. Blasey Ford, was credible and backed by ample evidence, while Kavanaugh himself appeared to lie multiple times under oath. Is that enough to get to Republican women? Well, the question came up all over again. Are Republican women finally going to wake up, realize that their party leadership sees them as second-class citizens, and fight back? Shit. A survey of media reports suggests there's a lot of people who dearly hope so. A headline in The Atlantic said, quote, here's why white women are abandoning the GOP. A Morning Consult headline said, quote, Republican women lose faith in Kavanaugh and Trump after weeks of accusations. New York Times, was it the New York Times that had this one? Yeah, or New York Magazine said, quote, new poll, Kavanaugh, Trump losing support of Republican women. Don't believe it, not for a fucking minute. Other coverage suggests a different story. Politico ran an article recently declaring that, quote, party loyalty trumps, so to speak, hashtag Me Too for female Republicans. Local news covered rallies of women supporting Kavanaugh. Who the fuck does that? Do they go out and support someone accused of murder or arson? If it's a Republican, probably so. Never mind, I withdraw the question. The Associated Press ran a piece in which Republican women expressed their skepticism about Professor Ford's account. And then Republican women doubled down on their determination to support Republicans. So what's the story here? Do you suppose Republican women will ever say enough? That's it. Marjorie Sproul, a retired history professor and the author of Divided We Stand, The Battle Over Women's Rights and Family Values That Polarized American Politics. That's the title. Ms. Sproul says, quote, probably some of them are turning on Kavanaugh, but the vast majority of them, white Republican women, good Christians down to the fucking bottoms of their feet, right? But the vast majority of them, Ms. Sproul says, I doubt that they would, because they're committed to him on the basis of the policies that they would promote, just like they were with Trump. What the fuck policies that Trump said he was promoting appealed to white middle-class Republican women or to anybody? Do you know? I don't. I mean, I'm asking the question honestly. What were the policies that white Republican women would support? Teresa Undum of the polling firm Perry Undum agreed. She said that the minority of Republican women who already disapprove of Trump will be more solidified in their distaste because of this Kavanaugh thing. But she added that, quote, this is not going to have an effect on the large majority of Republican women. That just, you know, it makes me stop and put my chin in my hand. Because I'm trying to get my mind around that. You know, I make a lot of wild-ass claims on this podcast. I use a lot of really gutter language because I get so fucking angry. But I cannot understand how Republican women can support a walking piece of shit like Trump. What the fuck is wrong with them? No, seriously. I can understand white Republican men supporting Trump because white Republican men are all cowards. They're a bunch of fucking bullies. They're all worried about the size of their penises. They see Trump as the personification of everything they always wanted to be. Be able to grab women by their pussy and make them say, I love that, do it to me again. To be able to get away with all the shit he's gotten away with. To live like a king when the fucker's assets are probably, those that are owned by the Russians, are probably enough to fit into one very small checking account. All the women that he's managed to mount, that's what white Christian Republican men wanted to begin with, and still do. But they go to church and act like, oh, well, you know, make America great again. Make my dick work again is what you mean, right? I don't get it. So all this testimony, all this reality TV we saw last week will have zero effect on Republican women in the sense of opening their eyes. It will have an effect on white Republican women in the sense that this will make them even more supportive of Brett Kavanaugh. Now, I've said this a million times, and I mean it every time I say it, and I'll say it again. What the fuck is that? What is that? Where you listen to two people and blow this he said, she said shit out of your mind if you can. That doesn't apply here. It's not he said, she said. It's she told a story of almost rape. And there were two people in the room, the would-be rapist and Giggly Nuts, his buddy who's standing there going, oh, that's real funny, go get her, Brett. Who these fucking Republicans refused to call and put him under oath and ask him. Republican women who listened to the testimony from both Kavanaugh and Professor Ford, how could they possibly, at the end of that, support Kavanaugh? Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcasts. You have your choice. You can listen to the ranting with the audio podcast or listen and watch me lose control with a video podcast subscription. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.